My parents tried to give my inheritance to their favorite daughter, but my grandparents had a surprising twist in store. Growing up, my older sister Victoria was the golden child. She got a brand new Ford Explorer for her 16th birthday, while I got a $50 gift card to Target 2 years later. She went to a fancy private college, got her apartment paid for, her tuition covered completely. I got told to take out student loans if I wanted to go anywhere. My parents always had some excuse ready. Victoria worked harder, Victoria had better grades, Victoria deserved special treatment because she was planning to be a doctor. Never mind that I busted my butt working at a grocery store through high school and still managed to graduate with honors. That didn't matter to them. When Grandma and Grandpa died within 6 months of each other last year, I figured I would get nothing. Victoria was their favorite too, always calling them, visiting on holidays, doing the whole perfect granddaughter routine. I loved them, but I was always working or studying and barely had time to visit. So when the lawyer called saying they left something for me, I almost didn't show up to the reading the day of the will reading. I walked into this fancy law office downtown. Victoria was already there wearing designer clothes, sitting next to Mom and Dad. They all looked at me like I was crashing their private party. The lawyer, this older guy named Mr. Hoffman, had us all sit down. He started reading through the will, and most of it was exactly what I expected. The house went to my dad since he was the only child. Some jewelry went to Mom, then he got to the money part. Grandpa had been smart with investments his whole life. Turns out he had saved up almost $800,000 in various accounts. The lawyer said, according to the will, the money would be split between the grandchildren. Victoria literally started smiling. Mom grabbed her hand. I just sat there waiting to hear. I would get maybe $50,000 if I was lucky, while Victoria got the rest. But then Mr. Hoffman pulled out a second document. He explained that 2 years before Grandpa died, he and Grandma had created a separate trust. This trust was specifically for me, and it contained $600,000 of that $800,000. The remaining $200,000 would go to Victoria. The room went completely silent. Victoria's face went white, then red. Mom stood up so fast her chair fell backward. Dad started yelling that this couldn't be legal, that his parents wouldn't do this, that someone must have tricked them. Mr. Hoffman just calmly explained that Grandma and Grandpa were both mentally sound when they made this decision, that they had it witnessed properly, and that it was completely legal. He handed me a letter. It was from Grandpa, written in his shaky handwriting. The letter said he and Grandma had watched how my parents treated both of us over the years. They saw that Victoria got everything handed to her while I had to fight for scraps. Grandpa wrote that they knew I would actually need this money, that I had student loans to pay, that I was working myself half to death just to survive. He said Victoria would be fine because Mom and Dad would keep giving her everything anyway. The letter ended with him saying he was proud of me for making it this far without anyone's help. I folded the letter and put it in my pocket. Victoria started crying, saying this wasn't fair, that she deserved that money. Mom was screaming at Mr. Hoffman, demanding to know if we could contest the will. He said we could try, but it would be expensive and we would lose. Dad just sat there staring at the table. I stood up, thanked Mr. Hoffman, and walked out. Over the next week, my phone blew up with calls and texts. Mom said I was being selfish, that family shares everything, that I should give Victoria at least half because she was my sister. Dad left voicemails saying Grandpa and Grandma were old and confused, that they didn't understand what they were doing. Victoria sent long messages about how she needed that money for a down payment on a house, how her boyfriend was going to propose soon. How could I do this to her? I ignored all of it. Instead, I paid off every single one of my student loans in one payment, $83,000 gone just like that. Then I paid off my beat-up Nissan that I bought used 3 years ago. I put a down payment on a small house in a decent neighborhood, something I never thought I would be able to afford before turning 40. I even bought myself a new laptop since mine was literally held together with duct tape.